What's good, YouTube? Jonathan Moore back here, and if you're not fusing, you're losing. Michael Tamez's first place Infenoid deck actually goes with that. So let's get into it. We have two Antra, two Atondel, two Deviati, three Decatron, three Hammerdick, three Patrula, three Sate Samos, and two Anonchu. That's it for the Infernoids. We have three copies of Raiden as the only Light Sworns, two Charge of the Light Brigade, one Burial from a Different Dimension, two Galaxy Cyclone, two Instant Fusion, one Monster Gate, one for one, three Reasoning, one Rhoda, so he's making sure he's getting to Raiden, two Void Seer, and one Void Imagination. So this is the fields, or not field spell, continuous spell that allows them to fuse, and it's really good. It's it gets really amazing options if they have extra deck monsters, which no one's bothering to clear their extra deck monsters right now. So basically, it's just free. And we'll get into what he has to say, some really cool combos with it later. And one main deck breakthrough skill as the only trap. To the side deck, we have three Cyber Dragon cores, one Lila, two Magical Spring, two Mystical Space Typhoon, a Regeki, another copy of Void Imagination, depending on the deck he's playing, two Royal Decrees, one Skill Drain, and two Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon. To the extra, we have two Norden, two Tierra, which is the Infernoid Fusion, one Black Rose Dragon, one Colossal Fighter, one Gaia Knight, the Force of the Earth, one Psyframe Lord Omega, which we'll also talk about. It's really cool. He's able to send it with the Fusion card. One Void Ogre Dragon, one Scrap Archfiend, one Armades, one Abyss Dweller, one Castel, one Felgrand, and a Gem Knight Pearl. So let's get into his tournament report and combos. Round 1 versus Satellar, he basically just scooped when I summoned an Infernoid. Round 2 is Cosmo. He drew Reasoning every game while I drew none. Sidra Core came in clutch game 3 to rid Dark Destroyer with my very mediocre hand. Round 3 was Pendulum Magicians. Game 1, I resolved the Void Imagination to end the game quickly. Drew Reasoning for the first time that day. And Game 2 was just all in my favor. Round 4 was my good friend Darian Screever. I believe he also topped. Game 1, Monster gated into perfect field of Omega, Deviate, and Decatron with Anonchu. Game 2, I drew the stones and ended with Omega, Antra, Deviate, and Dweller. Jesus. Round 5 was my loss to Aiden Clark, who game 1 I got very easily. 2 was a good grind game where he drew his out first. Game 3 I drew mediocre and he drew 2 Joker Pendulum Call. 6 was a Magispector player who had no idea what an Infernoid did. Oh my. So I just killed his monsters and Deviati'd him both games. Round 7 was versus Yang Zings, who thought I was playing Cosmos when I Reasoning, so he called 5. I was able to Sate Simus away all he had. In Game 2, I OTK'd him with Entando, Gaia, and then the final round versus Cosmos, I had to go first. So I set up a board of Raiden, Deviate, and grinded through his monsters till I resolved Reasoning for 4 Noids. Game 2, he bricked pretty hard, while I drew enough to keep up with his back rows. So I asked him a few questions about the deck, and he said he forgot to mention that the 2 Nonchu and 2 Deviate are so Void Imagine will for sure resolve after milling with Raiden or Charge. His shoutouts are to Mark Fenrig for the Imagination idea, and and Pendulum versus EM and Pendulum Magicians, and Ricky Liu of the Card Shack for being his locals and supporting. So I asked him a bit about the Void Imagination, and he says basically with Tierra's effect, you can send 3 cards from the extra deck. The other Tierra, Omega, and one of anything, because Omega can just return the other card you send. So basically sending Omega for free and just going blip, and he can do things to his opponents too with that. And usually you send 2 Tierra from your extra deck, but I'd rather have the 2 Norden instead of the 3 Tierra. And when you side versus Cosmo, you side out Imagination and the Tiaras for Cyber Dragon cores and Chimera Techs, which will equal 2 for 2 in the extra. So that was Michael Tamez's in detail tournament report. He got first place over at San Antonio, and he's just been on a pretty big roll. He topped Dallas. He had topped a few regionals before that. So, again, great to see it. Really cool idea with the Void Imagination. And be sure to subscribe. Click the new Twitch link below. And be sure to follow us on Facebook. The year's wrapping up, and we had a lot of deck profiles, so be sure to check those out also, including a really cool Odd Eyes deck. Thanks for watching.